changing a lot today, so I'm having to be very have to change up my my cast a little bit. There's another one of those really sharp rocks. Just take one of them home with me. Great for the fish tank. Which will bring me on to my next subject as well, which is invasive species. So we have a problem with invasive species moving from one water place to the next, transferred by our boots, our waders, our line and our rods and anything that gets wet while we're fishing. And that can often prove to be a highly damaging oversight by us anglers on the water systems we're fishing. Oh, it's a lovely cast. Perfect cast, give me a perfect fish. Just gobble up that fly, will you? Oh, damn it! I went too soon. Ah, he went for it as well. Ah, crap. Oh no. Take it again. No, he won't. He actually tasted it. He won't go for it again. Sometimes if the fish miss it, and you know they've missed it, they'll come back and they'll take it the second time around, and a little bit more aggressively. At that time he hit the fly, so I know he took it in his mouth and spat it straight back out before I could strike into him. That was a nice cast as well, wasn't it? So I'm going to move on down the bank like I said. The birds are feeding down there, but the buzzers are out, the midges are out, and the sedges are out, but it's very sporadic between the hatches of the larger fly, the larger buzzers and the mayfly. And I just missed the fish. It was such a shame. I don't know. Can't tell you whether it was a decent sized fish or not. It made a fair good swirl in the water, but I just struck too early and took the fly clean away from him. He was just about to take it, and it's them moments. For sure, it makes the day, doesn't it? Very difficult, but you can sort of see the clouds of buzzers there in the sky. They don't stay still for very long for a camera shot. They're buzzing about the place. So this little fella is a buzzer, a staple part of the wild trout's diet, and he just landed on my hand, has decided he wanted to become part of the show. So part of the show you are, and a delicate, beautiful little creature. And quite blessed I am to have him, because he's a perfect example of why we would need clean environments and clean river and water systems in order for these things to thrive. And when they hatch in the millions, they do so from a pristine, clean water system. Otherwise they wouldn't be here. And it's vital that we keep that water ecology safe for them in order for them to thrive and survive. They are at the core of the fish diet, and nevertheless bird diet and other wildfowl as well. So a very important creature to the ecosystem. I'm here now with a sample of rock that I just pulled out the river. You see on this rock here that there's a zebra mussel. And the zebra mussel and the Asian clam are highly invasive species to the Loch Corrib system, along with the green-blue algae, or blue-green algae as they call it. It depletes the oxygen level in the water and stops the natural wildlife growing, and they're the natural habitat for the multitude of species that we're explaining here today. Blue-green algae, that doesn't really need any explanation, because that in itself... I know it might not need too much of an introduction. This diagram will show the deeper dive towards the impact of the blue-green algae on Loch Corrib, because that in itself is a spore, and can be found anywhere from the water surface film right down to the riverbed or the loch bed. So the zebra mussel is very, very invasive. We have a multitude of crustaceans on this rock, snails and leeches and green algae. You can see here on the rock the algae, the way it starts, and this during the summer. If the sedge wouldn't mind getting off my camera, please, thank you. Certainly with these, the Asian clam and the zebra mussel here, highly invasive species, and we have to mind ourselves how we manage our fishing and how we manage our waterways, in my opinion. I mean, you can make up your own mind how important this is, but to me it's very important because I do a lot of fishing. I notice it because I'm at the waterside an awful lot. There's a whole bed of these mussels down here. I'll bring the camera around in a minute and show you. But yeah, the algae blooms certainly very, very transmittable from one water body to the next, and we should be very careful about that. So I just wanted to make that point on video, get my hands dirty a little bit, and we need to do something about getting rid of these little zebra mussels. I don't know if we can get rid of them once they're in the water system, but the natural freshwater mussel will be eliminated by the more aggressive zebra mussel. The Asian clam as well, they basically cling to rocks and spread out. They eat the natural faunas and the natural wildlife, and they cover the riverbed slowly, eradicating any other food source that's there. So they're very dangerous. You can clearly see that here in this image, the dual impact of zebra mussels and Asian clams on Loch Corrib. The clear water paradox on the left hand side of the image is the healthy water and the natural waterweed. And on the right hand side of the image you have the waterbed modification, as in the zebra mussels or the Asian clams, as they take over the waterbed and suffocate the natural fauna. Now you see here down in the water there's all manner of water crustaceans, and there you go. You see the mussels spreading out. If you're looking in the water, that's what they look like, and they're all over, you see. Now there are natural mussel beds and there are unnatural mussel beds, but this stretches right out into the water there, and it gets much thicker as the bed goes down. So then you've the blood red shrimp and the killer shrimp, both invasive species on the Corrib, easily transmittable because their egg spores are minute, invisible to the naked eye, and they, like the clams, push out spores of these eggs, thousands of them at a time, and they settle onto the water bed. So if you're fishing wet flies, your flies and your line can easily pick up the shrimp and the egg spores from those shrimp and transfer them to another water body. In this diagram you can see how the red shrimp and the killer shrimp amplify the situation even further by reducing the algae grazers, and therefore creating a perfect environment for the algae blooms and further damage to the water environment. Invasive species that we'll consider the ones that affect our fishing line in particular is the curly leaf waterweed. And that impact of the curly leaf waterweed and what it has on Loch Corrib and many other waterway systems throughout Ireland. So it's very important that we're conscious and we're aware of it, so you can get an image of it, you can look at it, and then you can see here the damage that it does. And that is highly transmissible because even so much as a spore of that gets onto your line or your boots or your waders and drops off into another water body, it can quite quickly take hold. Didymo snot rock, one of my favourites because it's so ugly. The snot rock is like what it sounds. It looks like snot on a rock. Didymo is its name, and it basically overhangs and suffocates and depletes all light and oxygen getting into the water system, therefore destroys the water system underneath, where it spreads out and it blankets out the surface across the water. It's a horrible weed to look at. Rock snot, I think they call it. Rock snot, snot rock. It's like a bit of a tongue twister. Didimo. So that's a very see, it has me tongue-tied trying to even explain it. But leaving the tongue twisters behind, Didimo rock snot and how it affects Loch Corrib is very similar to the curly waterweed, the way it depletes the water oxygen and the light penetration, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So on the left hand side of the image you can see the good and the bad, and on the right hand side of the image here we can take a deeper dive into the cell structure and how snot rock forms, and get an idea how that would be easily transferred from one water body to the next as a mode of awareness, really. To the more you learn, the more you know, and the more you know, the more you can prevent, and prevention is better than cure. All of these species, they change the water, the light penetration for the water. That depletes and changes what the small fish eat. Therefore, it changes what the big fish eat, and it changes the loch bed permanently. And very hard to get rid of. There are measures in place to blanket cover the curly leaf weed and try to allow the natural fauna to come through. But it's a very difficult and expensive task, so it's better that we have measures in place to prevent it. Respect the waters that you're moving from as you move from one water body to the next, and you won't be doing any damage, or at least you'll be limiting the amount of damage that you do. Okay, so thanks for watching. Do subscribe, that's a handy tip, and do watch out for those invasive species on the Corrib, because we want to keep this place as pristine and as good as fishery it has been for thousands of years. And I think that's very important. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.